guys! So for the next few episodes, I want to cover some topics that people are a little bit thrown back by. Polygamy. Does God support the idea of a man having multiple wives? Slavery. Does God support slavery? Another one is women's rights, my all-time favorite. Is God in favor of women having rights? And these are all things that we're like, oh, I know how God feels about that. But then people throw random verses at us and we're just like, wait, does he feel this way or not? So let's start off with divorce. In Genesis 2, it clearly says, "For this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." All right, so they're one flesh. You can't really separate one flesh, right? So off of Genesis 2, we're like, God is not in favor of divorce. You're supposed to be united to your partner forever, right? However, in Deuteronomy 24, in the law, it says, so God gives Moses the law, and one of the laws for the Israelites says, if a man marries a woman who becomes displeasing to him because he finds something indecent about her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce, gives it to her. Hold on. So he can give her a certificate of divorce and send her off? That's what it says in the law. So we kind of got two different messages there. And that's why when Jesus came down and he was roaming the earth during his time in ministry, the Pharisees come to him and they're like, in Matthew 19, they ask him, they're like, hey, so is divorce okay or is it not? And Jesus is like, absolutely not. What God unites, that one flesh, no man can separate. So then they tell him, they're like, okay, so why then did Moses command that a man must give his wife a certificate of divorce and send her away? They're like, so if you're not in favor of divorce, why would you give her a certificate saying, that give them the right to give them a certificate? Doesn't make sense. And that's where the key lies. Jesus replied, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because your hearts were hard. But it was not this way from the beginning. And then he goes off and tells them, I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, and marries another woman, commits adultery. But did you realize how he said, it was not this way from the beginning? Meaning, in the heart of God, divorce is not okay. It's not. However, because your hearts are so hard, and you're going to do it anyways, I'm going to tell you, okay, you can give her a certificate of divorce under these circumstances, and that's where we get the law where it outlines all the rules about how to do a divorce and things like that. But there are many topics in the Bible where God allows something not because it's his perfect will, but rather because at the time, man's heart was really hard. An example would be, for example, my son. Let's say my son decides to drop out of high school. Is that my heart? Is that what I desire for him? Absolutely not. But however, I will tell him, listen, all right, if you're going to drop out of high school, I get it. However, you better go get yourself a job because you're not going to be living in my basement under my roof with no job. See that? So it's kind of like I allow it, but is it my desire? Absolutely not. So there are some things that God will allow, although they are not his perfect will. What he kind of does is he kind of regulates it. All right, you're going to drop out of high school. That's not what I want for you. But since you're going to do it anyways, I'm going to tell you this. You're going to go get yourself a job. All right, you're gonna get yourself a decent job and you're gonna make some money to help support this family. But that's not my ideal dream for you. All right, so I hope that gives you a heads up of why God allows some things even though they are not his perfect will. Bye.